Hey everyone, this is T1PDX, and today we are back at the TCGHQ, but we're going to be doing something a little different. So, I'm kind of into the TCG game. A trading card game, yes. I'm kind of into the TCG, and so I built a deck, and I hope that it helps you guys out. It's actually for expanded gameplay, because it includes cards from, like black and white, I think. And so, yeah, I'll give you guys the lowdown on this deck, and then you can build it, and then beat all your friends. So, let's get straight to it, and the first card in our deck is a Mewtwo EX, black and white promo number 45. Now, this Mewtwo... Let's see if I can get him into focus here. Come on. There we go. He has 2 attacks, but the main one is X-Ball, and does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to this Pokemon and the defending Pokemon. And that's kind of the whole style of this deck. Build up energy on your Pokemon, and then just deliver huge hits of damage. And then he has another attack, Side Drive, 120 and discard an energy, which isn't bad, but you use X-Ball mainly. So I'll put him over there. In our next card, we have 2 copies of this one. It is Mewtwo from XY Evolutions. And this card has an attack called Psychic, and it does 20 damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which is pretty much like X-Ball. Except it has a base of 20, so it's not multiply. And it's a little different. So yeah, as I said, we have 2 copies here. So I'll put those in the back as well. And then we have Team Plasma Deoxys EX. This is black and white promo 82? Yeah. And he has Helix Force for 2 energy, 30 plus. If this Pokemon has any plasma energy attached to it, this attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. So, you know, we're kind of seeing a pattern here. More energy does more damage. Then we have a Team Plasma's Giratina, which is black and white promo 74. It has 130 HP. And 2 attacks, Hex and Shadow Claw. The Hex hits for 50, but if the Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it hits for 100. So it's a pretty powerful card for being a basic and a non-EX card. So it's pretty well balanced there. And keep in mind that special condition thing, because next we have 3 copies of Ghastly, which aren't really used for anything except for the evolution into our next card, which is Haunter. And Haunter has both Hypnosis, which puts the opposing Pokemon to sleep, and Dream Eater, which hits for 80 as long as the Pokemon is asleep. So yeah, affecting more special conditions there. And then we also have 2 copies of Coughing, also from XY Evolutions. This is actually based on the theme deck Mewtwo Mayhem, just with several modifications. And it has a card, it has an attack, Foul Gas hits for 10, but you flip a coin. If it's heads, the opponent's Pokemon is poisoned. If tails, they're confused. So, lots and lots of special conditions, which is good. And then we move on to the second type in our deck. Oh, jeez. Which is Fire. Now we just have a Charizard EX from Generations here. We only need 1 because we have trainers that help it evolve into 2 copies of Mega Charizard EX, which has Heat Typhoon, 4 energy, and then for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon, This attack does 50... flip a coin for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. And then it does 50 damage for each heads. So, a potential, 300 damage, which is pretty nuts. Especially for just a Mega. Actually, never mind. Just ignore my last sentence. And then we have one copy of Victini EX from Legendary Treasures. Which has an attack intensifying burn, but the main thing we're focusing on is Turbo Energize, which is search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your benched Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle your deck afterward. So, just helping the flow of energy go a little faster. And then, lastly, I think, we have Delphox EX, which is XY Promo 19, with Psybeam for 1 and 20 and confuses your opponent, and Wonder Flare for 4, 80 plus, your opponent reveals his or her hand. This attack does 40 more damage for each energy card in your opponent's hand. This is mainly for the confusion, but it also hits pretty big, so it is useful for other things. And then we move on to the trainers. Okay, so we will now be moving into the trainer side of things. Now we have a pretty nice variety when it comes to the trainer cards. First up, we have 2 copies of Switch, which is pretty self-explanatory, which is good for getting cards like Victini and the normal Mewtwo out of the way so they don't get knocked out super fast. And then you don't lose prize cards, which is always a plus. And then we have 2 copies of Charizard Spirit Link, just so we can help the evolution move along a little better. Not waste turns. Then we have 1 copy of Potion, just because I needed to fill a spot, and it's not that bad of a card. Well, it is, but, well. Then we have Energy Retrieval, which is Focus, there we go. Put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand, which is useful, for all things, really, especially if we're running low on energy, which in this deck really is not good when that happens. So then we have a copy of Revive. Put a basic Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench. And that is for stuff like Charizard, in case you lose some of your big hitters like Mewtwo. And then we have a copy of Misty's Determination. Discard a card from your hand. If you do, look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Again, for selecting cards like Mega Charizard, just picking and choosing which cards you're going to use, which is always good. Then we have Professor Oak's Hint. Draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand. Your turn ends. This is kind of like last resort, because we really don't want to be ending our turns early. But if we have to, that's fine. If I were you, I would probably substitute Professor Oak's Hint for an N, because N is a much better card than that. I just didn't have any copies lying around. Then we have 2 copies of Professor's Letter. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. Again, just helping us not lose energy. And then we have Evo Soda, which is for evolving things like Charizard and our Ghastly. Just an item that is helpful when you need it. Then a copy of Pokeball for getting, again, the Mega Charizards. A lot of multi-purpose cards. And then we have Great Ball for the same thing. Oh boy, I'm running out of space here. Okay, now that we have space clear, we can move on. And we have Shauna, one copy of Shauna, which is like a budget N. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. It might be better than N in some situations, but I think overall N is a much better card. Then next we have 2 copies of Tierno, which is a supporter that lets us draw 3 cards. Pretty helpful. Then we have 1 copy of Pokemon Fan Club, which really, really helps us get out our Charizards and our Mewtwo's, and pretty much all of our EXs, which is super, super helpful. This is a great card. Then we have a super shiny copy of Blacksmith. Attach 2 fire energy cards from your discard pile to one of your fire type Pokemon. Really useful card, especially if a fire type Pokemon has been knocked out and you have a lot in your discard pile. And then we have Fiery Torch, which is great in combo with Blacksmith. We discard a fire energy from our hand, and then we draw 2 cards. That's another super shiny one. Got it from the Pyro box. Then we have a A-Spec trainer from Boundaries Crossed, I think. Yes, Boundaries Crossed. Remember these things? They're great. And it's Computer Search. Discard 2 cards from your hand, and then search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So yeah, that rounds up the trainers, and then we have energy, and that is all that is left. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that 11? Yeah, 11 copies of Psychic Energy. Yay! Super interesting, I know. I actually kind of have a lot of energy in this deck. Not even kind of. Then we have 7 copies of Fire Energy. Woohoo! And then this is where it gets interesting. Ooh, that voice crack. That was pretty interesting. Okay. We have 3 copies of Double Colorless Energy, which is great, especially for our normal Mewtwo, because his attack Psychic is just 2 colorless energy, which is really awesome. So yeah, 3 DCEs. Woo! And then we have 1 Plasma Energy, which you hope shows up with your Deoxys. And that's pretty much it for my deck. I haven't come up with a good name for it. I'll probably post it in the title. Yeah. Okay, so the name is in the title. Don't worry, everyone. I have a name for this deck, and it's amazing. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to use this deck all that you want. Please. It's really good, and it actually does really well in the TCG Online, because there are a lot of energy horde decks out there right now. So, yeah, that's my deck. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.